and welcome to another edition of LTCC Sports. I'm Paul Villanova, and alongside me is my co-host, Matus Pikowski. We are here to keep you up to date with the constantly shifting landscape that is the world of sports. On this episode, we will discuss the ending of the NBA and NHL seasons, the opening week of MLB baseball, and, of course, what is going on in Marist College athletics. But first, let's take a look at the NCAA tournament.
Although the month of March is over, the madness is not. As the NCAA kicks off the Final Four this weekend, let's take a look at what the tournament has brought us so far.
Joining us in studio now is Nick Evangelista. Nick, thanks for stopping by.
No problem, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right, so Nick, we have the first matchup of the NCAA tournament, Florida versus UConn.
Florida, UConn, obviously the only number one seed to advance. UConn, the Cinderella from this year, besides Kentucky, number 8. So with the 7th seed UConn winning the Big East, obviously the American Conference, they're making a run. They're very poised, and they're led by great guard Shabazz Napier. And really, Florida, to me, has been very inconsistent because going through their matchups, University of Albany and Dayton, they've been struggling. They haven't been that dominant force, and they haven't really taken this tournament over. So, to me, UConn is just, they're poised. They're like Louisville from last year. They're very resemblant in their guard play, and they have all the momentum. So, I mean, I'm liking UConn in this game.
See, I'm going to have to go against you here because I'm going to go with the fact that Florida really has not been challenged in this tournament. You know, they're a great team, and then coming in to the tournament, you know, nobody's really put up a fight. They'll be down by 1 at halftime, and, you know, they do what they need to do, and they adjust. But, I mean, no one has really come out and challenged this team. And UConn is all in Shabazz Napier's hands. He's the Kemba Walker of 2011. I mean, it's up to him to carry this team.
Yeah, and also let's not forget where UConn played. MSG is like a third home for UConn, and they're going to be playing in Arlington, Texas at AT&T Stadium. So they're not going to have the home field advantage. It'll be a much more neutral battleground. And also, Florida hasn't lost a game since December 2nd. That's almost 4 months. That's more than 4 months of them not losing a game. And I think they are the hottest team in the tournament right now.
And just on the last point, we've all seen what one player could do, like Kemba Walker, Russ Smith, Peyton Siva last year. I mean, Shabazz Napier, he leads the team in every category, rebounding, assists, and points. This kid is putting UConn on his back. And I honestly think they have a really great chance of winning this game.
But here's the thing. Although he does not like to be compared to Kemba Walker, UConn rode Kemba Walker to the finals, and then Kemba was just so tired that he eventually died out, and their defense really picked it up for them. But I don't know if they can do this against Florida, though.
I guess we're going to have to see.
Also, if this game remains close, Florida is not a very good free throw shooting team. They average about 67% from the line. So if this game is close, Shabazz Napier is definitely that X factor that could lead them to victory. But I just don't think this game is going to come down to the wire. I think Florida will maintain a good lead all the way to the end.
And another thing I'm going to point out is Scottie Wilbekin. He's one of the most clutch players of this tournament, and he's being called the best all-around point guard. And I think he is going to step it up in this game, and they may prove to be better than UConn.
The difference in this game for Florida, what they're going to have to do to win, the perimeter shooting and cut down on their turnovers. So bottom line.
All right, guys, let's take a look at the second matchup of the Wisconsin Badgers versus the Kentucky Wildcats. Nick, why don't you start us off again?
Personally, Kentucky right now they've had the hardest road to the Final Four. They played Wichita State. They beat Louisville Sweet 16, Michigan in the Elite 8. They're the most prepared for this. John Calipari coaching, he's been here before. He's got very young talent. They've been very inconsistent in the regular season, but they have molded when the time is right. The Harrison twins and Julius Randle, this team is what it's all made all about. And Wisconsin, they turn the ball over too much. That's going to be the key factor for Wisconsin. Can you limit the turnovers?
Matus?
I think Wisconsin is a very well-coached team. Frank Kaminsky, the junior 7-footer, has showed that he's an elite player in this tournament, averaging 23 points a game in the tournament. and he's an inside scorer. He can shoot the ball from outside. But the question remains, can he score against the athletic front court of a Randall, a Marcus Lee, a Dakari Johnson? We have yet to see that. But I think Wisconsin will come out firing, and I think they'll give Kentucky a good fight.
See, this is the thing. Wisconsin, as you both said, they're very, very powerful from outside the arc. But inside the paint, they're a little inconsistent, I'll put it. And many people had them losing early, but they've really stuck to their game plan. And, they figured out a way to beat bigger and stronger teams. So I think Kaminsky takes this game away.
The way the Harrison twins, especially Andrew, has stepped up for this team. Andrew Harrison was not the most consistent three-point shooter. But he's 22 for 38 this tournament, and he has been carrying the load. So I'm going to ask you guys, who do you like in this first matchup, Kentucky-Wisconsin?
I have to go Kentucky. Ruben Randall is the best front court player left in this tournament. He has motivation to win. He's extremely aggressive, plays with so much heart and energy. And the Harrison twins, they're just too athletic. I think the freshmen are going to take it.
I'm going to go with Kentucky, too. I agree with Matus.
I can't disagree. I have Kentucky because the way they've gotten here, Julius Randle, Harrison twins, too much for this Wisconsin team.
All right, really quick, Florida with UConn. Who are you picking?
I have UConn in the upset.
UConn?
They're just a team of destiny. Cinderella pick. Shabazz Napier carries the team.
Florida, 31 in a row. Let's go.
All right.
This year's NCAA tournament has not been a disappointment, and neither have the riots that follow. The University of Wisconsin took to the streets and the rooftops to celebrate their one-point overtime win over number 1 ranked Arizona. The students at UConn went berserk after UConn upset Michigan State to advance to the Final Four. Shabazz Napier carried the load late to lead the Huskies to victory in what was a very competitive game. Hundreds of students can be seen showing their excitement for their team. Maybe a bit too much excitement. It's safe to say the arm swinging celebration has caught on with the students. Hundreds of students can be seen mimicking the UConn bench celebration in unison. Arizona also rioted after being upset, but uncopyrighted video is hard to come by. University of Kentucky students were excited to have their freshman squad advance to the Final Four. They seemed relatively under control. The wildest riot of the weekend belonged to Wisconsin. If that's how they celebrated victory, it's tough to imagine how they'd react to a loss. Hopefully, for the University of Wisconsin's sake, they can beat the Wildcats Saturday.
As the NCAA tournament enters the Final Four, men's basketball stars have started to declare for the upcoming draft. And Kansas freshman Andrew Wiggins was one of the first to declare that he will be leaving the Jayhawks after just one season. Wiggins averaged a freshman record 17.1 points per game and almost 6 rebounds. It has been reported that Wiggins' teammate Joel Embiid will be joining him in the draft. However, Embiid has not confirmed this. Other key players who have declared and are expected to be taken in the first round of the draft include Johnny O'Bryant from LSU, Jordan Clarkson from Missouri, Tyler Ennis from Syracuse, and Kyle Anderson and Zach LaVine from UCLA.
The ballparks have now opened, and opening week the MLB is underway. We have all you need to know to start the MLB season right here on LTCC Sports. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to LTCC Sports. We just discussed our predictions for the end of college basketball, and now at the start of April comes the start of the MLB season.
Although it was not an official holiday this year, opening day offered fans across the country 13 games in order to celebrate the return of the sport. After 3 days, the themes for the first month seemed to be along the lines of injuries and big paychecks. Several teams have lost key players, including Clayton Kershaw of the Los Angeles Dodgers, Yu Darvish of the Texas Rangers, and Jose Reyes of the Toronto Blue Jays, while Mike Trout of the Los Angeles Angels and Miguel Cabrera of the Detroit Tigers are enjoying massive contract extensions. So, Matus, what really stuck out to you during this first week of play?
Let's start off with one of the first games of the season, the Mets game, losing to the Nationals 9-7 after proposing a 90-win season. And that doesn't stop there. Even worse for the Nets, Bobby Parnell suffered a partial tear to his right elbow, his throwing arm, and there's no timetable for his return. But we wish him the best. And the Yankees are also disappointing. CC has looked just like the CC from last year, which for Yankee fans is not good news. He gave up 6 earned runs. 2 innings he gave up these 6 runs, pitched 4 decent innings, but the Yankees lose to the Astros.
For me, it was Mike Trout. I mean, his first game, he goes 2 for 4 and hits a home run in his first at-bat. And he also had 2 RBIs in the game. Also, Adam Wainwright and Felix Hernandez both seem to be at the peak of their condition after, Hernandez struggled a little bit towards the middle of last season, and Wainwright was just a solid pitcher last season, so I think he's going to keep that. The big surprise, Jose Fernandez has kept up all of his stats from last season, and he seems, after winning the Rookie of the Year, that he may be similar to the next Clayton Kershaw. The only bad performance that I saw was the non-pitchers duel that was the Phillies-Rangers game, in which Cliff Lee and Tanner Scheppers were both hit hard and gave up a lot of runs. The NHL playoffs are just around the corner, and after the break, we will take a look at what could be one of the closest postseason races in recent years and what teams are getting hot at the right time. Stay tuned. With only a little over 2 weeks left in the NHL regular season, the final push for the playoffs is underway. While some teams have secured their seat in the postseason, others are still vying for position. Due to this, the seeding for the playoffs is an open race, as no team has officially clinched yet. Expert Joe Calabrese has more on what should prove to be a climactic end to the 2013-14 season.
NHL's first full season with its new divisional alignment is ending. The league's 4 divisions, the Metropolitan and Atlantic in the East, and the Central and Pacific in the West, were made to accommodate time and location for each team. The new alignment comes with the new playoff format. 16 teams still make the postseason. However, seeding for each conference is different than the traditional 1-8 fans have been used to. The division winner with more points earns the number 1 seed, while the other earns the number 2 seed. The two next best teams, the second and third place finishers in each division, are paired together. The 7th and 8th teams are newly implemented wild cards, the two teams with the most remaining points after the first 6 teams have been seeded. The surging Boston Bruins, led by Vezina candidate Tuukka Rask with 110 points, are currently in position to win the President's Trophy, with the St. Louis Blues just 3 points behind them. Playoffs started today. In the East, Boston would play Columbus, Tampa Bay would play Montreal, Pittsburgh would play Detroit, and New York would play Philadelphia, a divisional rivalry. In the West, St. Louis would play Phoenix, defending champion Chicago would play Colorado, Anaheim would play Minnesota, and San Jose would play Los Angeles, another divisional rivalry. The NHL playoffs start Wednesday, April 16th. This is Joe Calabrese reporting for LTCC Sports.
All right, Matus, who do you think are the top teams to watch leading up to the playoffs?
Well, in the Eastern Conference, it's hard to ignore the Boston Bruins. They went 15-1 in March, playing great hockey, although they lost last night to the Detroit Red Wings. They've been playing great hockey all around. I think they're going to reach the Stanley Cup this year again. Their toughest competition are the Penguins and Sidney Crosby, but the Bruins are just too deep. They can run all 4 lines. Great defense. Tuukka Rask has been playing good. Krug has been playing. He's been continuing his play from last year's playoffs, and they just look too impressive to beat in the Eastern Conference.
I'm going to go with you on that one. The Bruins, they're the front runners for the President's Trophy right now, ahead of the Blues. Another team to watch, the New York Rangers, who have won 7 of their last 8 games. They're really beginning to click leading up to the playoffs right now, and Marty St. Louis finally scored a goal as a Ranger. So I think this relieved a lot of pressure from him, and I really think they're going to keep this streak going. Another team on the other side of tonight's matchup, actually, the Colorado Avalanche, who are the Cinderella story from last year as they finished last in the West. They're 4 straight wins, and rookie Nathan MacKinnon is the front runner for the Calder Memorial Trophy, and he's having an outstanding season. The only problem is Matt Duchene is out roughly 4 weeks with a knee injury, and he scored 70 points in 71 games for the Avalanche. So I think this is a key injury. Finally, I'm going to go with the Chicago Blackhawks. They're plagued by injuries right now. Jonathan Toews and Patrick Kane are both out. They said Jonathan Toews will be healthy come playoffs. If they can get Kane back beforehand, this team may go on a streak and find themselves in a solid playoff spot.
Well, that's all for the NHL talk we have today, but stay tuned because when we come back, we have an NFL free agency and NBA playoff race update. Don't touch that dial. Welcome back to LTCC Sports. I'm Matus Bukowski alongside my co-host Paul Villanova. NFL free agency is well underway and some big names are still on the move. Nick Evangelista has more on the stories.
For Deshaun Jackson to accelerate.
The Philadelphia Eagles released All-Pro wide receiver Deshaun Jackson this week because of his alleged off-the-field issues. Jackson denied the accusations and quickly found a new home. The Washington Redskins signed the Pro Bowler and will join forces with Robert Griffin III. The deal is worth $24 million over 3 years, with $16 million guaranteed. Former Steelers safety Ryan Clark signed with the Redskins this week as well for a one-year deal. The New York Jets have noted to show extreme interest in Tennessee Titans running back Chris Johnson, who passed the 1,000-yard rushing mark over the past 6 seasons. The Jets also inked former Oakland Raider return specialist and wide receiver Jacoby Ford to a one-year deal. Keep checking back for the NFL updates. I'm Nick Evangelista, LTCC.
After posting an 8-10 record in March, the Indiana Pacers have fallen out of the number 1 spot in the East for the first time all season. The Pacers were surpassed by the Miami Heat, who are 7-3 in their last 10 games. The last few games of the season are extremely important for these two teams, who hope to attain home court advantage in the potential and expected Eastern Conference Finals. The West is much more balanced, however. While the Spurs are on a remarkable 19-game winning streak, they are by no means dominating the conference, with the Thunder and Clippers close behind. The last teams currently in the Western playoff race are much more dangerous, though, as the Warriors, Grizzlies, or Suns could all be scary first-round matchups.
After the break, could a Marist football player be selected in the NFL draft? Also, we check in on Marist College spring sports as they begin to get underway. Stay tuned. Welcome back to LTCC Sports. I'm Paul Villanova. The snow is finally clearing and the sun is beginning to shine bright at Marist College, and also for one Marist football player who is looking to shine into the eyes of NFL scouts and put Marist football on the map. Kate LaFaro has more on the story.
This past season, the Marist College football team became champions in the Pioneer Football League. Champion and defensive end Terrence Fede was named PFL Defensive Player of the Year. 6'4", 278-pound Fede is shooting to be the first player drafted out of Marist College. Red Fox Terrence Fede recently had his pro day through Marist College and is currently training at a facility in New Jersey, anxiously awaiting the NFL draft in May.
So Matus, what does this mean for Marist football?
Well, you know, Marist football is coming off of being Patriot League champions, and now they're getting an NFL prospect, so recruiting should be a lot easier for the Red Foxes next semester, and it's just a great milestone for the school. But Fede, unfortunately, is not going to be the first player coming out of Marist to sign with an NFL team. Mike Rios just signed a contract with the Dolphins, and if you don't remember Rios, he was a wide receiver for the Red Foxes last season.
A manager of a collegiate sports team certainly does not get any of the attention. They usually spend most of their time doing the behind-the-scenes work. For basketball manager Mickey Dennis, being manager is the beginning of the journey towards his dream of being a coach. Will Cahan has more on the story.
Mickey Dennis's road to his college basketball coaching dream all starts off with a sprained ankle. The summer before his junior year in high school, Mickey attended a summer basketball camp at Marist College, held by the men's basketball coach at the time, Chuck Martin. On the first day of the camp, Mickey suffered a severe ankle injury, garnering attention from Coach Martin. Martin sympathized with Mickey and began asking him about his plans beyond high school and college. Realizing his days of playing ball were limited by injuries, Martin offered to take Mickey under his wing as a manager for the men's basketball team. Already interested in applying to the school, Mickey saw this as a golden opportunity. Since his first day at Marist, Mickey has felt at home with the team, which he calls his family, and is eternally grateful for it. Since then, Mickey has attended coaching camps at Duke University and will be attending another coaching convention in Dallas today to take the next step in his career. With LTCC Sports, I'm Will Cahan.
With spring sports in the middle of their seasons, here's a quick recap on the latest news for the Red Foxes. The baseball team was defeated by Stony Brook 9-3 Tuesday. Marist was held to just 4 hits and left the 7th inning with the bases loaded in a non-conference doubleheader versus Villanova. The Marist softball team dropped both games after coming off their first conference win versus Fairfield last week. Sophomore Kirsten Van Natta proved one of the only offensive sparks of the day with a solo homer in the first game. Now moving to lacrosse, the men are coming off a tough loss as they were defeated by Manhattan 14-13. The team fell just shy of what would have been a great comeback with 4 goals scored by junior Mike Begley. The women currently stand with a record of 6-2. They have had big wins versus Binghamton and Stenson last week. Freshman Abigail Witzak named Eastern College Athletic Conference Defense Player of the Year, while sophomore Allison Giotto shared the same honor on defensive side Tuesday. The women's tennis team took on rival Fairfield. The team lost the match 5-2 despite strong play from senior Marielle Campbell and sophomore Nikki Ronhan. Their single matches. The men's team will be home versus Colgate this Sunday at 10 a.m. To wrap up our news, the Red Foxes and our show Waiter Polo team had quite a weekend honoring their seniors. Garen Marchetti has more on Water Polo Senior Day.
With the NFL draft 1 month away, the focus is all on the Houston Texans, who hold the #1 pick. There's been plenty of rumors surrounding what the Texans will do with the pick, but former South Carolina defensive end Jadeveon Clowney, who's been criticized for his lack of work ethic, feels he should be selected first by the Texans. I can pretty much do it all. Anything on defense, I can help. I'm a playmaker, said Clowney.
Tiger Woods will not play in the 2014 Masters Tournament.
That is all the time we have for today. There is certainly a lot of news going on in the world of sports, and we are glad you tuned in to LTC Sports for your coverage. For Matus Bukowski, I'm Paul Villanova. Have a good night, ladies and gentlemen.